just share my screen. So you can see my screen, right?
It's still coming up.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yes, I can. I can see it now.
All right. So probably we may have been thinking of why do we have cloud computing? How does it work for us? What is even the need? What are the essentials and the rest? So I deliberately have to um, not fully prepare, like putting things in place already, just so we can, even as we interact to start, we can, get to know the idea behind the cloud computing concept, right? So you may have been using cloud computing for a very long time without you being aware of it. For example, you probably have been using Facebook for a very long time now. Then you save your pictures there, you upload them, people engage in them. Just the same way you do on LinkedIn. You just do it like, should I say carelessly? I don't know, but you just do it for probably fun without knowing the brain or idea behind it. If you've used phone as well, you've used your OneDrive, you've used your iCloud, and then you just use them for the purpose of saving stuff, right? Now, all of those ideas are the concept of cloud computing. That is what discipline means. Now, in the course of these sessions, this training that we'll be having, just like the idea adopted from the ABC of cloud computing, we will be making use of the Google very well, and as well um, as the co-pilot that Microsoft has for us to use, AI integrated platform to Microsoft 365, just so we can inculcate that habit of research where we are getting confused or not too clear about a particular concept, you know. So I have materials that I've used in preparation of this particular introduction to cloud computing and the brain behind it. So cloud computing has been in existence, let's say, for the past 20 years now, worldwide, right? And you can imagine when it comes down to Africa, when it comes down to Nigeria, that is to tell you that it's still very fresh. And anybody going into it now, I guess, will be, I mean, at this time, it's still one of the luckiest person to be in the field very early. And with time, you see the impact it will have on that person, the exposure and all. So I'm going to open my OneDrive. You just wonder why OneDrive? Sorry, not this. Okay, it's Drive. I'm just going to open my Drive, my Google Drive. And you see that in my Drive, I save some series of documents here. And because they are here means that I can actually access them anytime, any day, at any moment, regardless of where I am, provided that I have the internet. I guess I'm correct. So anything that made me as internet therefore means that I'll be able to access this information, these files anywhere. So I'm trying to get, I don't think it's this account, but I know I saved it somewhere. The okay. What am I doing? So Now we use these things for free. Or it will be interesting for you to know that these things are really paid for. Now you can just look at this. These are some of the information I saved here that I can access anytime, right? And this is working because I have internet connection. And that is why I will just bring us here to say, let's open the Copilot app. You see that I use it a lot. These are some of the things that I've searched for recently. Now I'm just refreshing so that it can give us a fresh page. And I will ask, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing. You see, one thing that interests me in this field is a lot is changing every day and every day. A lot of updates are coming up. There are lots of discovery that you need to really find out on how they work and how they need to work. By so doing, your curiosity to know more will eventually keeps you in this field to research and research and research. And that is why we are doing this search here. Now, if you check, this is Copilot, right? If you check this definition, it tells us that cloud computing is a technology that allows users to access computing resource such as servers, storage, database, software, and more over the internet. Please take note of this over the internet. And then you have, rather than relying on local hardware or physical infrastructure, this is what Copilot is giving us as a definition, accessing computing resources over the internet. Let's check the Google to see what the Google will give us, right? What is cloud computing? Now, the first question here, because I am using Edge browser, so Copilot will always be giving a suggestion anytime you make a search using the Edge browser. And this one says cloud computing is the delivering of computing services. You see, this one use resources and this one use services, including servers and the rest. And then there is over the internet, and you see the cloud in bracket, quote, in cloud. Then if you check, if you check other sources, like let's open this and see. It's coming up. Then this one define it as nowadays, cloud computing is adopted by every company, whether this. But then the definition comes, cloud computing means storing and accessing the data and programs on remote servers that are hosted on the internet instead of the computer's hard drive or local servers. Now you see hard drives here. They said instead of, right, of computer hard drive or local server. And if you come here, you see instead of owning and maintaining, no, you see something like over the internet, rather relying on local hardware and physical infrastructure. Now, this physical infrastructure, local hardware, are as well talking to this computer hard drive or local server. The server here is the infrastructure that they are talking about, and then the hardware is the hard drive here. It could be any other thing in as much as it is a means of storing information and data. Now, if you want to define, I know I have that document somewhere. Let me quickly open one of my accounts. So if you want to define, I have one on LinkedIn too. I posted recently from ABC of Cloud. Right, if we should come here, this is my account. So I'll quickly open my OneDrive here. Sorry, let me just walk you around. These are some of the benefits of using the cloud for our computing resources, which is accessing your files wherever you are, provided that you have the internet. So if I should come to my files here, I'm going to search for cloud computing. This is fundamental. Yeah, I shall know I have them here. So these are some of them that I've prepared over time. This has been, for a long time. They have gotten outdated one way or the other, but fundamentals doesn't really get outdated very easily. So yeah, you see, these are just the concept. Let me quickly download it so that I can open it in full. That's coming up. Also, don't forget that we've established the fact that cloud computing is accessing computer resources or services over the internet. So the download has completed, and I'm just going to open the file. I believe I as well sent you this. Why is this taking time to load? Okay. So this was one of the assignments that was given to me some time ago. That was the 6th of June, 2024. Right? And yeah, let's just go straight to what is cloud computing. So cloud computing can simply be defined as using computer resources over the internet. So when you hear the word internet and you hear the word cloud, now some people want to check the physical cloud that we have over the sky and be like, where is the space or the storage area that we are keeping our files there? So the term cloud there as this place, as here rightly defined, if you check here, you see this bracket close and open inside this column, the cloud, which is the internet. So there is no cloud anywhere that you want to save things up there. When you hear the cloud, you are just talking about internet. So it can easily be translated to internet computing is not bad. You are just saying exactly the same thing. And you see some of the some examples of the computer resources that you can access over the internet are the servers and storage that I put here. And we've gotten them from here, where they say local hardware for storage and physical infrastructure. That is you buying or paying for services as you go and progressive. I mean, as you use these services day in, day out. And if you check here too, it's also saying to the same thing when it comes to computers hard drive and local hard drive. But this time around, you are now accessing them over the internet. Then this is just an illustration. Instead of owning your own servers at home or in the office, I believe even your bank, you have one too. You should have your server room where you keep your servers, and is used strictly for the purpose of that bank only. It is not accessible over the internet or not made available for the public. This time around, it belongs to only the bank. The bank often at times operates in hybrid cloud system, whereby they access some resources over the internet and then they store some locally for their own consumption. Just so sometimes because of security and privacy. Now, I said there is a question here, why cloud? okay, I've rightly said this, the word cloud is a metaphor. It's not as if there is a cloud anywhere. It said it doesn't mean a real cloud in the sky. It represents the sky, the idea of accessing services data through the internet, which is like a big invisible cloud connecting everything. And if you actually look at the cloud up, you see that the space is endless. Like anywhere you go, anywhere at all in this world, there is always a sky above your head. So because it is that big and the internet can be that big, I don't know, these people that comes up with this name, I can tell you that they are scholars for them to have risen that far, right? So yeah, it says it offers several advantages, and we have benefits here, right? Now, from what we've done so far, I can tell you that one of the benefits that we've practically seen is me going to the internet. I don't have this document on my local PC. I have to go to the internet and spool it out within a split of seconds, if not probably because of poor network that delay the download a bit. It should just be on my system within seconds, right? And then we also made use of my normal Google Drive that we see here. We've made use of internet, making research and discovering things, right? That is one of the benefits that you've practically seen within this short time that we've stayed together. Now, cloud computing makes things easier. We have seen that already. Very easy and seamless. You can imagine how much we've been able to do within few minutes that we've spent here. It has scale up and scale down as needed. So what this means now, if let's be comparing with these guys here, we see scalability, increase or decrease resources based on demand. And here I say it has scale up and scale down as needed. Now, this thing is talking the same thing as scalability. Now, and when you say scale up and scale down, this is talking about horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, right? Is you probably doing something on the cloud and you feel, okay, there is something you are missing out, or probably you don't have, let's say, the storage. Let's make use of the storage. Your normal Google Drive space. I don't know what it actually is, but I'm sure it shouldn't be up to 1 TB. Now, there are points where I will get to and I will not be able to save stores in my drive again because it is filled up. And if I need to continue using it, I will have to scale up and pay for more storage spaces. That is what this scalability is talking about. And it makes it very easy, like you can seamlessly do that. And if you've paid for, let's say you paid for 1 TB space, and along the line you discover that, bro, I will not be needing such space. Like, what do I need this for? What I'm needing is just a 500 gig. And if there is provision for that, you can easily just say, okay, you are not continuing with the 1 TB payment stuff, and then you want to scale up. Then let's see what horizontal and the vertical scaling is, because these things, it is important that we know them, right? Now, what they do is some one deal with the physical components for operations, while the other one deal with the software component. Now, the horizontal scaling, which means scaling out, this involves adding more machines or servers to your system. Instead of relying on one powerful server, you add more units that work together as a single system. This is common in distributed system and cloud computing. So what this is saying to the physical components. The horizontal scaling is saying to the physical component that you use for your resources to access your resources over the internet. For example, before you could, get access to that internet, you probably need a device, say phone or maybe a PC, right? And if you've been using phone, for example, and you feel that the phone is no longer meeting your demand, you can say, okay, rather than relying solely on phone alone, you want to get a PC just so you can do better. Now, it improves redundancy and allows your system to handle more users or data. Just so we know that the system, the PC, has more features than the phone. There are lots of limitations to you just using your phone alone for work. So you may want to scale up, horizontally by adding a system to your phone. And in some cases, your system alone may not even be enough for your work. There are instances where you will need um, another monitor just so you can make work easier for yourself. There are some times whereby you want to have power issues and you quickly want to look for an alternative to look for a way to tackle that. Right? Now imagine a website gets more traffic, you could add more servers to the cluster, each handling a portion of the traffic, right? So that is just an example for people developing. So if you know websites very well, you see that, for example, let's use the NYC, for example. If you check the NYC portal, right, during registration, you see that it becomes very difficult for people to access the portal because a lot of people are trying to access it at the same time. And because of that, it now experiences traffic. And that traffic will inconvenience a lot of people. So because of this, they will need to add more servers, physical servers, and probably um, try to you try to subdivide the website components for people. You that is using it may not be aware of it, but there are underground work that is going on. Now, NYC proceeded by having 1, 2, 3, 4 portals at the same time. If you're accessing one and it's difficult for you, you can try to use the second option. And if it's still very difficult, you use the third. These are the there are systems that they have put in place to segment those portals just so it can be a bit easier for people to use. Then we have the vertical scaling. This means upgrading an existing machine or servers to have more capacity, like adding more RAM, CPU power, or storage. It makes the individual machine stronger, but doesn't increase the number of units. Upgrading the servers to handle larger databases and more complex application. So yeah, you can add a lot of, sorry, yeah, you can just decide to say, okay, your your system is no longer very fast as you want it to be, and because of that, you want to add more RAM to it just so it can boost up. You can decide to say, okay, your storage is not enough. You want to add more storage to your system, and then you just pay for these things online over the internet. Don't forget, when you say cloud computing, you are talking strictly about online. Then we have other benefits here. Cost efficient. Yeah, I think I mentioned something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I say it provides seamless service without the need to worry about maintaining hardware, right? And this one is talking about cost efficiency. Pay only for what you use, reducing upfront expenses. So there's what to call CapEx and there's what to call OpEx. So CapEx is a capital expenditure and OpEx is the operational expenditure. Now, when you talk about cost efficiency, and yeah, I say it provides seamless service without the need to worry about maintaining hardware. Here, when you access resources over the internet, like I mentioned earlier, you pay for what you are using. And if you feel you are not needing the services of some of the things you are paying for, you tend to scale down and say you don't want again. And if there are instances where you need to pay more, then you will pay more for better qualities. And that is where this cost efficiency comes in. You only pay for what you use. You don't pay for any other thing. But you see, if you are operating locally, you need to pay for virtual IT teams, handling everything behind the scene. Now, what all of this is just saying is, yeah, and this one says you don't need to pay upfront expenses. Take note of that, upfront expenses. Upfront means you don't need to have a building. You need to pay money to acquire it in order for you to keep your physical servers. You don't need all of those things. You don't need, like, even if they are there and you are not using them, right? If you have your servers in your server room, even and you are not using them, you will need to be checking on them and be paying for them without using them. So cloud computing can be very, very, very cost efficient when you try to compare it with local style of computing. Okay, and I talked about OpEx and CapEx. So yeah, we see CapEx. These are long-term investment in assets which will benefit the company. Okay, let me just try to put it in cloud computing so we get a tailored definition. So don't mind me, I use Copilot a lot. It's my friend, and I enjoy using it because they are very, very accurate. So you see here, CapEx, capital expenditure, and OpEx, operating expenditure, becomes particularly significant due to the shift in how IT resources are acquired. Now, CapEx means involves upfront investment in physical infrastructure, such as servers. So you need to put all of these things in place in CapEx, capital. But in cloud computing, you don't need them. Just pay today, start using it today, right? Now, OpEx in cloud computing, it refers to pay as you go model. Please, in all you do in cloud computing, you never forget this. You pay as you go of cloud services. Instead of purchasing hardware, organization pay for cloud resources like storage. The storage you could have in your office that fire may even come and burn everything down, but then you can just access them over the internet without worrying about anything. You don't need to have another security, a security that will be on standby, watching to, a lot of stuff. No, you don't need to pay for that. Just go pay today and start using it. You don't need a lot of complexity. And then the third advantage that we have here is accessibility. We have discussed this before too. I think it should be somewhere here. It's like creating a computer power without machines. No. Okay, we can say it makes things easier. Probably. Yeah, accessibility means anywhere you are, even if you are in the bush, you are in the toilet, anywhere at your home, in the office, just ensure you have internet connection means you have access to every of your information. And that is why with what I have here, with what I have here, I can literally travel. Sorry, that is certification. Let's see. So with what I have here, I can literally travel without carrying anything, even down to passport. They are saved here, like without taking anything alongside me, down to my signatures, they are here, right? All I would just need to do is walk into any public cafe, anywhere that I can access the computer, log in into their system, and then I will access my things. I'll print them out as if they are the original copies. And if I with my phone, I can as well do that. Just sign in, probably download them, send to them via any means. Probably it could be via the internet as well, either through email, either through email, either through email, through WhatsApp, you know, it can be other means. It can be other means, maybe Bluetooth, you know. Then flexibility. Use different tools and services without installing them on your local devices. Okay, I think I'll just quickly demonstrate this. We are still online and I came here earlier. So I can just click on this app launcher here and I will select Word. I will quickly tell you that I have Word application here in my local machine. I can just click here too, right? What happens if I'm using a system that doesn't have enough space and I'll need maybe something more of importance to me than this normal office tools here? Means that I can actually do without installing them on my local PC. This is it on the internet. I can literally just come, click and start working. And the good thing is, even while I work here, right, I can as well dump my work here, go to another computer, access my work, continue from where I stopped without any disruption. I may be working, my battery may just go off, you know, and I don't have anything to worry about. This one is still even coming up. It's not, I don't know what's happening this evening. Keep on processing. But that is just it. So I can literally start working and I can share, right? I can do a whole lot. That is the flexibility is talking about. This is just an example. The flexibility is it is very, very easy to use. Then reliability. So cloud providers offers backup and redundancy for data safety. There is what we call, what is this? Okay, there is what we call service level agreements, SLA. If we check SLA in cloud computing, let me always be tailored in cloud computing. So we are talking about reliability. So what this SLA means is a formal contract between cloud service provider, which is ISP. Now, cloud service providers means that it could be Microsoft, it could be Azure, it could be AWS, right? It could be Google, it could be WhatsApp, it could be anything, right? There is always an agreement that is binding you people together that say, yes, I will always ensure uptime of so time and so day, right? Or time. Sorry, I'm just getting a little distracted by something. So yeah, in the formal contract between a cloud service provider and a customer, it defines the expected level of service that they will render to you performance metrics, and responsibilities of both parties. Now, these are the key aspects. The number one is the most important part of it. So they will tell you that CO will give you uptime of 99.9%. This means that the possibility of failing is almost impossible. And if you've gone through the Microsoft fundamental exam preparation, in their material, you see that in 1 week with 99.9, in the whole of 1 year, the possibility of failure you may experience in uptime is less than, is it 1 hour? Is it 10 hours? It's definitely more than less than 10 hours, I'm sure, right? Now I will leave that to you for your own finding. Your curiosity should just, make you just make a little research about it. There are instances where they will make examples of 99.5, 99.95, 99.99. All of those things have their failure rates in a year, in a month, and daily. But this is saying that the possibility of failure is almost impossible. And don't forget that we are talking about reliability as one of the advantage of using cloud resources. So they will guarantee you this, that anytime you want to access your data, they are always there for you. Then performance metrics includes response time, resolution time, and other in case you are having issues, you are making queries and stuff. Responsibilities. So they will just tell you this SLA will as well include the security aspect of it, that hey, your data, they are safe, nobody, if you have loss, like something may happen, you lose your file, don't worry, there are options for backup, redundancies, data recovery, all of those things. They will ensure you that, hey, for you to lose your data here is not an easy thing to do. Just all of those assurance, right? They covers you a lot. So we will return here. They say no sky clouds involved. Yeah, even though there's an actual cloud in the sky, cloud computing is a game changer for businesses and individuals. It simplifies how we use technology and lets us do more with less hassle. So if you check the title for this session, we name it History and Fundamental Part 1. History and Fundamentals Part 1. But I think we do a little out of, we'll do away with that of the history. I'm sure you might have seen them in the previous video that you went through. So what we will do quickly before we go out of this session is address this authentication and authorization issue, right? And just see how it works, just so we can do a little practical for today. See, learning these technologies, I can tell you that from the beginning, it can be very, very boring. Just imagine you being in school, reading and reading and reading, then you are coming back, yeah, staring at your phone, listening to a whole lot of stories that you've always been listening to right from school, right? It can be very boring from the beginning. But once you start applying this knowledge, everything becomes very, very interesting to you. Okay. And one of the advantages, yes, I will not forget to mention this. We are in Africa, in this part of our world. One of the advantage of cloud computing is the opportunities that are open with knowing this technology. Like for real, there are a lot. If I want to, like myself, I cannot even imagine what I would have been doing after NYC, like probably stock year I served through the year. You can imagine how many core member will you see that immediately after service, they even have options and stuff, right? I had the option to stay with my firm that I serve, but I had to say, hey, no, I don't want. Like, how many can confidently say that? I remember when we were growing up and we would see that some of our elder brothers had done serving. You hear stories of some persons that the company they serve offered them to continue with them, and will be like, oh my God, if I will grow up, I want to start somewhere that they should retain me. But here I am, like all of those things I envisioned them growing up, even while in school, even upon graduation, I envisioned them before I eventually comes to this field. And yes, within just few months, even while still serving, I could confidently tell my firm that I'm not continuing with that, right? But these are things that we've envisioned. These are some of the opportunities that are open. And in few months after service, I have rejected offers and I settled for what I choose to settle for, just to continue the process of learning. So the opportunity that it guarantees us is more than what we can, just look at the surface. So just for you to just see, I'm going to create an account for you now, and we just interactively do that while we see what authentication and authorization does and how they work. Okay. I'm not very good in drawing. Maybe I would have brought up my paint, but however, I know that you've seen those videos and it won't be all that difficult for you again. Yeah, maybe I want to switch my account. I want to switch my account just so I can log in or sign in somewhere better. So yeah, I want to use, okay, let me use the cmd.ms. So there are many ways you can access the I want to access the Microsoft Admin Center. So what we'll be doing more here is learning the Microsoft 365 technologies, right? And the initial one we just did is just an overview of how the whole system of cloud computing works, right? So yeah, there are many ways of accessing the admin portal that I want to sign in now, just so I can create your account. I don't know, my network is kind of bad. It's not loading up for me quickly, but I hope it doesn't take time. Okay, that is coming up. This is up already. I can just simply say admin.microsoft.com, and yes, I will be here, right? And here we are. These are all of these things you see here are admin portals, and the much that you can see here are the numbers or are the much of available roles that are open to anybody in this field out there, right? You can be employed as an Intune manager in an organization, just so you manage their Intune application and endpoint. You just be the administrator overseeing the affairs of this, right? You can be employed to, you know, be the admin, to be in charge of Defender, which is security in your firm. You can be employed as Exchange, administrator. You can be employed as SharePoint administrator. Things like the much you can see here is the much of available role that are out there waiting for those who have the relevant skill. So in this case, I'm going to type in admin center. So you see here, Microsoft Admin Center. This is the command and this is the URL. So I'll just click here. So now you see that I want to access the admin center. Cool, cool. This has brought me here. I'm so happy that it does. Now you see something here. They say switch to an account that has permission. That means this account, this what I don't even know the account that this is, but this account doesn't have permission. We will come back here. I will not touch this page again. So I'm going to come here. Now they say I should sign in, right? Sign in. I should pick an account, and the account I'm going to sign in is not within, is not among these three. So I'm going to just pick up this to say sign in a new account, and I'm going to pick an account that I'm using. I hope I've logged in here. Okay, it's not yet. So I'll just do this. Yeah, this is the account. And I will input my password. Um, and then I'll save. Now something happens. Let me just save this. So let's go back to the other page where we have this. So here we say authentication is the process of verifying the identity of a user or system. It ensures that the person or entity accessing a resource is indeed who they claim to be. Just the same way you would take your phone and then you put your face to verify that yes, you are the original owner. The same way you enter your OP, right? There are times where you log in your OP, you just type in your phone number. That is showing that okay, this phone number, it wants to check, does it exist? It says yes, it exists. Okay, if it exists within your environment, please supply your password to ensure that you are the owner so you can have access, and then you enter your OP password. Now, if you are opening OP on a new device for the first time, it will tell you to put your face, right? To tell you to put your face. That face is trying to see an extra, that is setting in measure for extra layer of security, just so another person who will probably grab your phone number and password, and to not just have access. Anybody can just have that and just take a new phone and then try to sign up probably on their phone. But this time around, they want to be sure, and that is the essence why that particular feature was introduced. And until you are able to verify, you will not be able to sign into a new phone. So that is the same thing that is happening. That is where this authentication comes in. Now, because I've not signed in here before, I've entered the username, it is very correct, and I've entered the password, it is correct. Now I need to verify who I am. These things are what I know. I know them. It's not enough for me to just enter the environment, right? So I'll need to further verify. And now there are several ways. The most common one is using the Microsoft Authenticator app where you will register. But in this case, I deactivated it from this account, and I set up the option for text and call. So I'm going to click on this text so that it can send me a text message to my phone, and then I will verify the code that was sent for me. Originally, I was to go to my Microsoft Authenticator app and confirm. They will send me a message there, and then I will confirm and you know just approve by the number they will send me. I'm waiting for that message. I'm yet to get it. So because I'm yet to get it, I can just try to refresh or send another one. Most of the time, they even send to me on WhatsApp. Okay, they have sent it. But you see, now if I should open my WhatsApp, they sent it on WhatsApp. You see messages here. You see Microsoft sends me a message, but I will not be able to open it here because they are they 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 are messages that Microsoft ought to protect. They are confidential. So I need my primary device to be able to access this particular message. These are some level of security that WhatsApp is setting in place. And that is why you will not be able to view a one-time sent message on WhatsApp, right? So I'll just enter this code already. It's on my phone. And then I'll just put it here. 754. Now, I have been able to get access to this environment. This is it. I've been able to gain access to it. But this one says I don't have permission. What this is saying is authorization. So when you are able to authenticate, there should be a level of stuff you can do within the environment. So that will now authorization now authorize you to say, okay, these are the things you are in the environment, quite all right, but these are the things you can do. Authorization involves granting permission to authenticated user or system. Remember, that user is now authenticated. It determines what action or resources a user is allowed to access. And that is why we are here. Because this guy, yes, is existing in Microsoft environment, but it doesn't have the required permission or authorization to say, okay, come into this environment and use it. And that is why I could not access it with this guy, but this other guy is here. So all of this is what we'll be discussing in the future, how the admin center works. We'll probably spend some time here because we'll talk about the users, we'll talk about groups, we'll talk about role assignment and administrative unit. We'll talk about resources. We'll talk about a lot of things here, like almost everything. These are the admin centers that we have that are very, very common, the security, compliance, Intune, identity, exchange. This identity we just did here is that process of authenticating. Yeah, identity takes up that, but we'll get there anyways. So yeah, like I said before we call it a day, I'll quickly create an account for you, Olive. So I come to my active users. These are the users I have in my environment. Right? These are the users I have. And I want to quickly say add a user. There are even different ways of adding user. You see templates, multiple, this is especially multi-factor authentication, which is that process where I need to authorize my sign in through my phone. So, but yeah, we are creating accounts for only you. So we'll start by your first name, right? So what is your last name?
Okaknu, OKAKPU.
OKA K,
K.
okay, KPU, right? So I have
Okay, see.
entered, okay, there is a misspell here. So
All right.
there is this first name and last name already here, right? If I should enter now, like I can literally do without the first name and the last name, but I can't do without a display name. Like this can
Okay.
be of no importance to anybody, but it is always nice that somebody know at least who they are attending to. And that is why this display name comes in. And that is the essence of this asterisk here. And me just clicking here will just automatically pick your first name and your last name and use it as your display name. Now this is username. This is what you now use for authentication and authorization. So in this case, we are going to do Olive. Now, this is hard. This is the domains. Even these domains, we will get here some of these days and we'll discuss them explicitly. So here you choose from the numbers or from the list of domains that you have. This is my primary domain that is, that I've picked for this device. I bought it and registered it to this tenant. This is uh, the follow com domain. When I created this account, I can say, yes, you should be using it. Now, if you want to use it, you'll now be using olive at this.com. But then I want to use this for you now. And then I'll just say, okay, automatically create a password and then require this user to change their password. I've checked them. If I should say no, which is a standard for organization, you should not automatically create a standard. There should be a password policy in the organization whereby if you create an account, there should be a default password for everybody. And then when you set that password, you said yes. If you try to sign in, ensure that you change your password upon first time login, right? Upon first time sign in, so that even the admin that created the account will not know the password, hence accessing that particular account. So I'll just check this so that it automatically creates it. I will eventually send it. So yeah, we've talked about it. Then I will next. Now, we were talking about authentication and authorization, and that is the last thing I said we are going to discuss today. So yeah, you see license. I have picked 0. You see license here. I can say create a user without a license. Then I'll move on. Nothing happens. But yes, I want to pick license. What does this license do? This license, if you have been authenticated, that's it. Now, if I should say no now, right? And I go ahead and create the account, it will work. I will give you the password, I will give you the username. You will sign in. Like Microsoft will recognize the account to say, yes, you are our user. You exist in this part of their world. Okay, but if you sign in, you'll not be able to do anything if I should create you without a license. Like you will not be able to do anything. It will just be a user. Now, there is something I learned recently. Creating an account without a license is not yet a user account. Like it's just you occupying space. Like it doesn't take anything. It's just an entity. Or should I say it's an identity? There is an identity, but there is no account. So here now, I will just say, okay, pick this. And if you see, I have 25 count license, but only 12. If I should uncheck this now, 13 are left. But I'm going to check this now to be for 12 to be left. So now this Microsoft 365 E5 developer will give you access to all the core applications and services that comes with Microsoft 365 E5. Just a quick one. Let's do products dot office.com. Let me just quickly show you something. Now, these are the subscription available for Microsoft. Now, if I come to this enterprise, don't worry, I know I rushed this. I just want to show you something quickly. You don't need to worry yourself about this for now. We will get here eventually.
Okay.
So when I come here, I'll do see plans and pricing. So for Microsoft 365, we have this for enterprise, right? We have Microsoft 365 E3, no Teams. Then we have Microsoft 365 E5, no Teams without audio conferencing. So this particular license I'm giving you is sold at $54.75 monthly, right? And now you see the applications that are available. If I should give you, like I would do now, give you that Microsoft 365 E5, you will have access to all of these applications. Windows 11 Enterprise, PowerPoint, Excel, SharePoint, OneNote, and the rest. And now this is it. If you check E3, E3 doesn't have Power BI Pro. You don't see it here. It's here. And if you check F3, it doesn't have Clipcharm, it doesn't have Loop, it doesn't have a to-do list, but this has everything. And these are the major advantage. Now, E3 has Windows for Enterprise, 1 terabyte cloud storage, it has all of this. Now, E5 now say everything in E3 plus it now has advanced security and compliance capabilities, scalability, and these and these. And one good thing, and now look at this particular one, Microsoft 365 apps for desktop and mobile. So this, if you have this plan or this plan, it will enable you to install your Word, your SharePoint, your PowerPoint, your Word, your OneDrive, your Excel, and all of those basic applications in your desktop. But there are some that does not permit that. For example, so there are just differences in these things. So if I should check for home, yeah, this would be the best for me to use. If I should check for home, for family, and the personal. So yeah, you see that this is just $129 per year for the full year. And this is just $99 for the full year for personal. Now, if you check this one now, for one to six people, right? You don't see that you can access those apps online, but you'll not be able to access them on your local PC. These are just some of the differences that are there. Okay, I don't even think these apps, I don't even think, okay, you can use them for phone. Yeah, I'm sure. 6 TB of cloud storage for one person per. So let us not deviate. So this is what we grant you access. You see E35 here, E5, sorry, N365 E5, and you see the capabilities and the products that come with it. So that will be the thing that will enable you to access it. So I will just go next. Now, if I go next, okay, now if I uncheck this, you see that you have access to 0 apps. Look here, 0. And if I check it, you have access to 73 apps. I cannot decide to say, okay, I don't want you to have access to, let's say, Teams. If I uncheck this, you'll not be able to use this account for Teams. Now, even Teams is not an add-on license, base license. It doesn't come with all of these plans again. You have to pay for it differently, but that is on a different stay. So I can say I don't want you to have access to Viva Learning. I can say to-do list. No, you should not have access, right? But those are the 73 apps that you have access to. If I now want to add Power Automate for free, you have access to 992 of like a lot of things. So I'll just do next. Now, optional. Remember that I was trying to sign in here, but I don't have the permission. This is where it comes from. Rule, no administration access. No administration access. And that is why you see it here that I can say, okay, give him or give her administration access. You see this global admin, this is what I am. This global admin have access to everything in the organization. But if you see exchange admin, this person only have access to SharePoint for storage and collaboration. If you see help desk, this app is resetting password and setting password. Like this is just a support, like support. You just render support to people using the products directly on some basics, right? There is user administrator. Maybe I'll just give you this. I initially didn't want to give you user administrator, but I'll just give you this since you already seen how to even, access, add the user, just so you can play around it at your leisure, right? Then I will next. It will now give me the summary of the things you have
Hearing.
access to here.
Administrator.
These are the summary. It will give me your display name. You see that your first name and last name is not even included there. They don't even need it. They only need your display name and your username. If perhaps I found out that I made a mistake, I can just go back at it and that is it. So user administrator, if I want to add information about you, really, I can just come here and say, okay, what is your job title? What department are you? Office, like even Access Bank, you use a Microsoft product like this, right? You use account, you should have account like this.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just do finish adding. Just trying to add up. I'll show the password. I'll just copy this. I'll just copy this and send to you. Now, as this thing is here, right? As this thing is here, if you should log into, okay, let me close. If you should sign into this same M365 admin center, I bet you the only thing you'll be able to access here is these users. You may see every other thing, no, but you'll not be able to access them. You can access identity, you can. But you see this compliance security, you'll not be able to access them. All of this, just this alone. Maybe one way or the other, you should be able to access things, but you still be limited to a whole lot, right? So that is how that authentication and the authorization work. I think, oh, we are far behind schedule already. I think M365 community intermediate class should be on already. And I would love to just jump on that before I move on to the ABC of cloud computing section by 9 o'clock. So at this junction, we will say if a buy, sorry, we are stopping this session. Where's my teams? For me to stop this recording so that we take, if you feel you have anything for me, we can just take them quickly and move on. So I stopped recording and I'll